a Libération photo of some pro-Russian activists in Lugansk. Libé says that these pro-Russian separatists are continuing their offensive in the east of the country, trying to destabilize the power in Kiev with total disregard for warnings from the international community. And you can see that the title there is Putin's jackpot. So Libé suggests that this is actually working. And in its editorial, Libé likens these pro-Russian activists to hunters. It has very, very strong words. It says that they want to tear their victim apart limb for limb. And Libé is also very critical of the EU today, saying that this crisis in Ukraine is symbolic. It's a symbol of a diplomatic, political, and military fiasco. Rich Europe is abandoning Ukraine to Russia, abandoning a country that believed in European values and wanted to be a part of the EU. This is a betrayal of everything that the EU is supposed to represent. So very harsh words there in Libération.
Yeah, very, very strong words. According to Le Figaro, on the other side of the political divide, the EU more focused on tracking down deficits.
That's right. According to Le Figaro, France has given up plans to ask the EU for a delay in cutting its deficit. Now, the government is going to stick to its original commitment, basically to bring the deficit under the 3% bar by 2015. So why the change of heart? Well, Le Figaro says it's because Brussels made it very clear that it wouldn't actually accept any request for any kind of delay. The European Commission summoned 2 presidential advisors, says Le Figaro, and there was some serious finger wagging. And as you can imagine, Le Figaro, the right-leaning paper, is thrilled about it. It loves all this in its editorial. It says just 1 week after this new government was formed, well, it's already made a U-turn on something that was at the very heart of its economic policy. This is a great start for France's new fighting government. It's already getting slapped on the wrist. So that's a Le Figaro.
Yeah.
Les Echos, the business paper, is also focusing on this, but in a little bit more less biased way. It's focusing on how this is actually going to make things a lot more difficult for the government, which already has its work cut out for it. It has to cut 50 billion euros in public spending, all the while facing a majority in the parliament that seems less and less inclined to reforms. And then you have French people that are tired of austerity. So it's a very sticky situation and going to make things a lot more difficult for the government.
Another EU story, of course, those European elections just around the corner in May, aren't they?
That's right. And Le Figaro focuses on the Socialist Party. It's no secret that the Socialist Party is pretty terrified of these European elections, afraid it's going to be a flop like the municipal elections in March. Now, the man you see there is the new party leader, Jean-Christophe Cambadélis. He's going to be inaugurated today, and it's tricky timing for him. And Le Figaro is critical of him, saying that he's actually not going to change the party line from his predecessor, Harlem Désir. Now, Cambadélis is drawing criticism from the right, but also from the left, according to Le Parisien. A lot of heavyweights in the Socialist Party are actually upset that he's going to be the new party leader. They're upset at Hollande, actually, for handpicking him and just placing him at the top. Aujourd'hui en France says this is just the latest point of disagreement between heavyweights in the Socialist Party and the president. This is a rift that's becoming less and less of a secret. The gloves are coming off, according to Le Parisien. Socialists are openly criticizing the president for his policies. So pretty bad timing just before these European elections.
Not so rosy either for the opposition UMP, though, isn't it?
That's right. Now, unlike the Socialists, the UMP did very well in those municipal elections. We talked about a vague bleu, a blue wave. So what's wrong with the UMP? Well, they're doing some serious soul-searching, according to Le Figaro. They're trying to decide just what the party line should be ahead of these European elections. And the party is very divided between Europhiles and Eurosceptics. To quote this article in Le Figaro, nobody can agree within the UMP. And the Le Figaro points out that all this could play into the hands of someone who's also expected to do very well in these European elections, and that's the far-right leader, Marine Le Pen from the Nationalist Front.
Okay, I'm sure that's a story which is going to keep coming up over the next few weeks. Now, we're going to end with the Christian paper Le Croix. They continue to focus on the genocide in Rwanda. Last week, of course, the country holding enormous commemorations for the 20th anniversary of that genocide.
That's right. It's interesting that La Croix is still focusing on this. Most of the media was focusing it on last week. But you can see here, it says that the genocide continues to be a very heavy cross to bear for the Catholic Church. Now, authorities in Kigali blame the church for abandoning the country in 1994 and actually trying to cover up some of the crimes. La Croix says the church is both an accomplice but a victim as well, because after all, this was a genocide where Christians were killing Christians.
Flo Vilmanel with the French newspapers here on France 24. More from Flo and Stephen during the rest of the programme. Coming up for you, the latest news, of course, Ukraine, our top story this morning. Plus, we're going to be meeting the protesters of the Sunflower Movement in Taiwan. And the movement recently occupying the Taiwanese parliament for 3 weeks to try to scrap a trade deal with China as they remain fiercely independent. We'll be speaking to them in focus in the next half an hour.